Here's another slideshow. This is some more of Ruth Cannon stalking, threats, slander. It also includes Ruth Cannon's virulent transphobia, homophobia, queerphobia, because she continually makes a point of misgendering me, which is it's a very pointed thing that Ruth does, and also the dead naming. Ruth's the first person to bring the dead naming into this. The linguistics on stylometrics match. I ran it through stylometrics programs. And then also, Ruth Cannon has accidentally, probably because she wasn't thinking, because she's in some sort of weird psychosexual narcissistic rage, admitted that she is this person in a couple of complaints to YouTube and Google and other servers that she thinks that I didn't get copies of the complaints. And, so here is a slideshow of some of Ruth Cannon's more virulent stalking and abuse. Ruth Cannon, I know from speaking to her, she has she's very fetishistic about my being non-binary. It's a real thing for her, and she gets a very strange sort of sexualized pleasure out of misgendering me. It's a real hatred there. It's in the same way that Ruth Cannon is virulently racist, and if I can dig up, I have a recording of her ranting about an Asian lady in a post office. But if anyone is paying attention, the tone and wording and the constant doxing, not only is it in line with behaviour that Ruth Cannon displayed when she runs her socks back in the Sibling of Daedalus years before she deleted that, it is also in keeping with Ruth Cannon's general transphobic bigotry, her non-binary bigotry, and that she's laughed about it and she's made it a constant needling thing. So on display here, and what she has drawn Andrew Bradley into and everything is, and Donald Quigley, the gangster fetishist, and Richard Young and everything, she's drawn everyone into her very turf-like, homophobic, queerphobic hatred, and that because she feels protected at the moment by people like Andrew Bradley, she's really, really going for it with the misgendering and the dead naming and the trying to dox internet accounts, whether or not she knows who they are, if they're me, if she suspects they're me, or if her friend is running them. And Ruth Cannon, this is sort of it's a very emotionally and psychologically violent hatred thing that she does. It would just be hate if I didn't know that that from talking to Ruth and recordings and everything, when she gets away with misgendering, she does little giggles and squeals of pleasure because she's really into it. She's really into owning people's identity and deciding what they are and hating different people. And she hates gay people, she hates lesbians, she really hates trans people and really hates non-binary people, and that's why she's making such a drilling point in all comments and correspondence and everything to not only misgender me as much as she can, but also to dead name me, even though she knows that doing AKA dead name means nothing because it's not my legal name and it hasn't been. It's just something she's doing to cause hurt and pain because she's a very, very messed up narcissist, and but one who also gets sexualized pleasure from this, and that's one her quote unquote colleagues, or sorry, the few remaining legal peers that she might have should know that that's a thing that she gets a lot of joy from, and also sexual joy from, is the misgendering and the dead naming. And it's a thing. It's a real thing that she really grasps onto, and that now that she feels that I am defenseless, she's really holding on to it. And if she can, then also leverage Andrew Madden to sort of validate herself and validate her misgendering of me and validate her hatred of my sexuality and validate her dead naming me, then, it's an added sexual sort of release and pleasure for her, sort of a weird psychosexual power and control thing. And I've been aware of this for quite some time in the weird abusive dealings I had with her. A lot of which during that time, from I'd say as early as October 2020, I've been trying to get free of Ruth Cannon. And, this is just another facet of the abuse that people like Eleanor Carmody and the LSRA are enabling. I don't really expect much better from the guards in Kevin Street or Irishtown because, they've repeatedly sexually assaulted me and followed the same line of abuse. So I'm just sort of dealing with slope-browed bigots, hillbillies with hearts full of hate. It's just that aside from the guards in Kevin Street who took obvious sexual pleasure in the sexual assaults that they put me through and the sexual humiliation and sexual torture, it's just that of all of the the misgendering assholes that I might have to deal with, I know Ruth is taking pleasure in it because she's always taken pleasure in it, and I have recordings of her little giggles and her chortles and stuff, and it's really quite disgusting and disturbing. But so look at this slideshow, and you can see some of the stalking that she has subjected me to, and some of the defamation, some of the lies, her and her whoever. It's always safe to assume that she's operating with one or two people, but at the same time, as Izzy Kamikaze says, Ruth is a known troll stalker who runs multiple accounts, and this is another example of Ruth doing just that. So enjoy the slideshow of Ruth's virulent bigotry, homophobia, queerphobia, transphobia, and non-binary phobia. And just know that when you're seeing this, that she, was getting some form of psychosexual pleasure from it, and that is another awful, awful part of everything that's happened in the last nearly 3 years that I've been trying to escape from Ruth Cannon.